Reassessed, and that's my function on like YouTube. I was kind of inspired by watching Metal Theologian's video on English prog, but this isn't just focused on English prog. Of course, with the title, it means, you know, prog rock and prog metal, you know, kind of like that. Anything that's within that prog, you know, category is what I'm going to be, you know, talking about. And I have heard some prog bands anyway, and some good, some okay, some ones that really just blew me. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be talking about in here. So before I get into it, of course, with prog, you can't forget about, you know, Fate's Warning. While this is not a prog album, this is just a straight up heavy metal album. I just fucking love this part of this track. But, of course, I'll get more to them more in this video. But the only thing I'm not going to be showing is Spectre Within because I still haven't gotten that album yet. I am going to. Still, definitely, but Fate's Warning were definitely more of a prog metal band after this with the releases, I guess, such as Spectre Within, Awaken the Guardian, and I guess even with No Exit and Perfect Symmetry. But still, but they did turn into like a prog rock band. But I'll get more into them. So, but first, I think I probably should just get into prog rock first. Of course, he showed this band in his video. Yes, I'm talking about you. But yes, and I knew about Yes ever since I was a kid, and I've always seen this, which was just, you know, crazy. So of course the double live album. I tried playing this a few months ago, and I was liking it, but yep. Fuck. But it was not. But I was kind of digging it. But still not too bad. But of course, everyone knows who Yes are, and of course, I think Chris Squire, was the one that ended up passing away. So may he rest in peace. And of course, also died today was Keith Emerson of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So, fuck. Now another band that I kind of get into. The only album I heard by him was Brain Salad Surgery, which I might revisit. And of course, other albums. When it comes to prog rock, though, you can't, and even the early prog metal, you can't forget about, you know, Rush, Fly By Night. This is kind of still has some of that first album in there, because it's still kind of, you know, some of that real heavy rock that was present on the debut, but there's kind of more of that very proggish element due to the debut of Neil Peart. Still a good album. As far as some of my favorites, it's got to be the first track on here, Anthem, which is just a, for the time, definitely up there with probably as one of the really heavy metal songs in some way. That's very new wave of British heavy metal sounding for even 1975. Still pretty good, but of course, I need to give this one more time. I try to give this as much chances as much. What kills me has got to be Tom Sawyer, which has got to be one of the most overrated fucking songs ever when it comes to Rush's catalog. That's one of the reasons why I always go and revisit an album such as this, because it's just a lot more solid from start to finish. And there, of course, you do have the title track, but it's not nearly as overplayed as Tom Sawyer. But other than that, it's definitely not bad. But of course, fucking Rush, right? Of course, this Test for Echo. I wouldn't consider this too much of a prog album, because when I went and revisited this album, it was good. I liked it, but it wasn't a pure prog record as I would expect from Rush. But then again, Rush didn't start off as a complete prog band, right? You know, they just start out like a very Led Zeppelin inspired band with some sort of Sabbath in it. Very that really early heavy rock sound. But still, this isn't too bad. But to me, it's not a prog album. At least when you compare it to the last album, Clockwork Angels. This is a total prog album. I wouldn't consider this rock at all. This is fucking prog. I remember listening to this once, and this is just one of those albums where you have to give at least maybe repeated listens just to probably, you know, get into the kind of, you know, just sink in. It's just it's a bit of a hard album to get into from first, but not bad. I just have to spend more time with it. But of course, you have other prog bands as well. This is definitely a band that's new to me, but Argent, yeah, Counterpoints, yeah. This is pretty much the last Argent album, and this is definitely one of the more harder albums, not to come by, but the harder albums even found on CD, because there really is no CD copy of this album. It's like kind of a forgotten Argent album, but you can still find it for dirt cheap. Still bad. It's definitely a prog album. It is. The only thing I knew about Argent before this was that Russ Ballard was the guitar player, and of course, I'm really, you know, dressing up in the room. My camera, every time I move something, it just fucking shakes like a complete asshole. Look at that. It's gonna make somebody seasick. But, still, not a bad album. It's definitely a total prog album. What it did remind me of was Goblin, for some reason. And of course, Goblin are an Italian prog band. And I'll probably talk about them maybe around this video or somewhere. But still, not bad. But this is definitely one of those, again, I have to give it more spins to really kind of get used to it. But it's not... At least the same can't be said for bands such as, you know, Captain Beyond. Now, this is more heavy psych than really prog, but while this is definitely probably the first album I ever heard by Captain Beyond, but when it comes to at least prog rock, this is an album that comes to mind, though, when it comes, you know, Captain Beyond. Goes to Dawn Explosion. Now, many people seem to consider this to be the crappy album, when for all my life I was heard that was the second album that was considered to be crap, because that album was a total prog album compared to this. This is more, and the first album, but this is still a prog album, but it's definitely proggy, but it's more rock as well, because it's very evident in tracks such as Fantasy and Oblivion, which is straight up probably one of the best songs off this album, along with Icarus, which is another great track as well. It's definitely more prog rock compared to the first album, but it's also not as, you know, all-out prog like the second album. But still, I like this one. And many people seem to kind of hate this because of it was a little too, let's say, I guess they like to say lightweight sounding and not as heavy as the first album and not nearly as proggish, which I did listen to the second album. And it's like, again, it's not really rock. That album's not a fucking rock album, that's a prog album. And it's not bad, but I guess in some ways to put it, a little pretentious, as Metal Theologian puts it. But still, not bad. This and the first album are my favorites from Captain Beyond. And I did do a review for this last year, like, because of why not? Why not talk about an album that I really like? But then we also go to others. First, you got Journey. These are the first three albums. Yes, Journey. I know, but first three Journey albums are indeed prog. prog rock, while the first album, definitely prog, but it's definitely what makes that album a little different from the other two that would precede that one, is it really incorporated a lot of jazz fusion into it. Still a good album though. Definitely kind of shows off, fuck. Let me just look at his name. Fuck it. But Neil Scholl's something. It was coming there, but it really just shows off his guitar work on that one. With the other two, straight up a little more song based, but they're still proggy in some ways. But yeah, if I have to pick between the three, Look Into the Future is actually my favorite, with Next probably coming in second and the first album coming in third. I really like these three more than later on. But also, I've seen him come up, get brought in, like prog. I always see him get the prog tag, of course. So I'm talking to this Jethro Tull with Stormwatch, which is actually not a bad. Yeah, Stormwatch. Had to recheck. So, now I knew about Jethro Tull for a long time. Aqualung. Of course, I would always hear the Greatest Hits sound all the time. That will always get played, but over time, I just lost touch with Jethro Tull. I just, for some reason, I couldn't stomach him anymore. I don't know, it was crazy, but but until when I went and listened to this album, I really just fell in love with this one in a way. This is actually a really good album, probably the most underrated album from Jethro Tull, and it has to be for the track Dark Ages. What a fucking track that is. It's around 9 minutes long practically. It's the best song on this album if you ask me. And I know Jethro Tull always gets tagged with, like proto-metal in ways. Especially even on the Aqualung album. But here, Dark Ages has probably some of the heaviest moments for a Jethro Tull song. It's practically almost bordering on straight up heavy metal for what it is. And this was released in 1979. The new wave of British heavy metal movement was already kind of, coming in a bit full swing by that time with Iron Maiden and Saxon and Tigers of Pantang and so forth. But here, of course, I brought up Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden did cover Jethro Tull, Cross-Eyed Mary. But on here, this is pretty much what Iron Maiden would kind of go for with Power Slave, with later, like even Peace of Mind. This is pretty much the style that they still try to emulate, is the stuff off of Dark Ages. It's for some reason that when I heard that track, Iron Maiden was the first band that immediately came to mind. Still pretty good, and I think the sound deserves a bit more love within Jethro Tull fans, because this is actually a really good album. And as far as that Greatest Hits sound, none of those songs appear on it. So let's now get into prog metal. Of course, when you think of prog metal, a lot of the times it's either Dream Theater or fucking Queensryche. Yes, this is definitely a more straight up prog album right here. Now, I know Warning is definitely a prog album itself, but it was still metal. Here, this is where they become more of a prog band instead of what was present on here, where they're just a fucking straight up heavy metal band. Straight up. But here, this is definitely a prog album. So, at times, I don't tend to consider this one a bit of a prog album. Yes, this is the box set version of the 2013 album with, of course, Todd Latoro on vocals. I don't know if I'll consider this straight up prog. There's some prog moments on here, but it's definitely still, metal. It's definitely a metal album. But it's still good, but at times when it comes to prog, it's not too much of a prog album, but it is definitely, you know, a metal album. I like it though, definitely good. But of course, I did talk about it for a little briefly, Fate's Warning, and of course, Awaken the Guardian. Definitely more proggy, but still, it's still rock, and it still has a real good, you know, metal vibe to it. Still retains a bit of that heaviness to kind of keep you, you know, keep you more enthused, a little more interested into it, and just without falling asleep. Yeah, I know later on they would definitely turn into more of a prog band, but not as cheesy and complete fucking stupid like later Queensryche. So in ways, if I had to pick between which band I like more, Queensryche, Fate's Warning, or Dream Theater, I'm obviously going to pick Fate's Warning. So of course, the last here for prog metal, because I don't have a whole lot of prog metal. Because I don't know that many prog metal bands that actually got a, you know, a real good classic vibe to it, without going into, you know, like I'm saying is, there's not really a whole lot of prog bands that's actually up my style, because most of the time, they all fucking doodle around. It's like, one of the reasons I like Dream Theater for some of it is like there's some songs I like, but I haven't really heard a whole lot of Dream Theater anyway. But all I just heard is that most prog metal bands just go in a fucking doodle area. But however, there's Voivod, of course, which I have nothing against Voivod, nothing. But Anacrusis is also one that gets kind of thrown in that kind of prog era a bit. They kind of get thrown in there. And this is definitely a prog metal album. Straight up prog metal. Of course, they just start off like a thrash band, kind of like Voivod a bit. But here, this is definitely prog metal. It's definitely a good album, though. I really do dig it. Every time I tend to put this album on, I really do enjoy it from start to finish. There's definitely some good... Because again, it's still rocking. That's the one thing with prog metal bands, most of the time, at least the ones I've heard, is that it's proggy, but it doesn't go on to total up, you know, just straight up prog. It's just very guitar driven stuff still. I like it. I do. So those are pretty much the ones that if you have heard some really good prog metal bands, that's actually probably up my alley. Definitely throw those in the comment section. But if you also know some other good prog rock bands, that's actually one that's also up my alley. Definitely throw those in there as well. So until then, this is Metal Theologian saying, I am out. Later.